So 276, to make your Choose Your Own Adventure project your own, I've added a couple of little like extra noodles down here that you can use to try and really make the project your own. The first of these is going to be the random number generator. Now, I know you have in chapter 4, I believe, but for sure it was in chapter 3, if not 4. There was a brief ditty with the textbook material on doing random numbers, and my feedback from all of you is, wow, this is not good. And honestly, that's okay. Random numbers are a little bit different than we all expect them to be. It is not as simple in operation as most people expect. So I mean, I get it. So this version of a random number generator is a little bit different than the one from the textbook. This one does require, you will see here, it's this side, that way. You will see there in the code, I have 2 new includes for you. The first of them is the C time library. We need the time library to be able to use the clock time, and that is how we start for our random number generator. The second we need is the C standard library. There is the random function in there. So do remember your 2 includes. So next, you can just copy this line, or rather these lines. It's line number 11 here, int random number. So this is going to store an integer value. That'll be our random number. So the next part is how is it that we call for this random number. We will get to in chapter 6 how a function call works, and all of that is happening here inside of line 14. For the time being, please, please, please believe me that it is much, much easier if you just go, yes, I need this line. And honestly, everything will work out from there. So copy these 2 lines, 11 and 14. Next, I have a few pieces of output here so that we can see how we can use these random numbers. The first one here on lines 16 and 17 is generating one random number, so it is just one random number, between 0 and 10. And I'm displaying it in the output only. So that means that if you want to use a random number that you do not want to have stored, there are legitimate reasons for this, but know that that means that this number will not be stored and we cannot use it to affect anything. On line number 17, I simply have my cout statement. Copy and paste this. I am perfectly okay with, for the time being, you going like, yes, I copy and paste this, and that's okay for me for right now. What that is going to do, and you can see my modulus operator inside of there, it is going to give me a number between 1 and 10. It's really not between 1 and 10, it's between 0 and 10, and that's why we have this +1. So what that will do is it will essentially fix the range of numbers for us from 0 to 9 to 1 through 10, which is the range that I wanted. And you can see out here in my output window, my result is 5. If I'm just going to prove it works randomly, I'm going to run it again, and 4 is my output result. I'm going to run it again. 10 is my result. We could run this all day, and what we will find is we are going to get values between 1 and 10. So that's the first way to be able to use a random number. Next, what we are going to do is assign the result of that random number generation to, in this case, it is our int that we declared on line number 11, int random number. So here on line 21, random number equals, and then you'll notice from the last piece of code we had in our output window, 1 plus random. So this rand is a call to a function. We'll see that in chapter 6, and mod 10. So this retrieves again a number between 1 and 10, and it stores it this time in random number so that we can use that random number as a variable. So if you think about, like taking damage, if we're playing a role-playing game, if you think about how much damage can you inflict if we're doing the same thing. So that would be a good way to generate that. It's just like rolling a dice. As a matter of fact, if we wanted to change this just really briefly and say, okay, there are 6 there are 6 sides on a die. So if I was to roll this, oh, I overwrote that. Do not remove the parentheses there, everybody. Mistakes do happen. There we go. So there we go. That's my output 1. I'm going to go ahead and run that again. There's my output again. And you can see here is an output 4. It works. It's randomly assigning between 1 and, in this case, 6. So the number I want to generate the number between, or up to rather, is the second number there. The 1 takes care of changing that value from possibly a 0 to a 1. So here, the next one, I'm just doing the same thing again. I want a random number, this time between 1 and 100. So there you can see that's 100 there in my equation, in my formula. This is really a function call. It's neither of those. And there's my output for random number. Here it is, 74. The very last one is if you wanted a number inside of a range. So if I have a character that has a damage that they can inflict between like 0 and 10, or 1 and 10 rather, I can do that. Here, I have a character, just as a for example, that can inflict a damage between 20 and 40. So here, inside of my function call, which again you do not have to know, we will cover that in chapter 6, I have my random number assignment to this 40 minus 20. That is my range. So the upper end of my range minus the lower end of my range. So if I wanted between 420, I could just change that there, run this, and what you'll see in my output is I get a much larger number. I'll go ahead and run that again. I get another number, 364. That is between 400 and the number 20. So there you have it, 276. 3 different ways to use and manage a random number so you can help make your choose your own adventure just a little bit more like what you want to see.